Hi, this is Jimmy the Rusty Pilot. Welcome to my channel. Let's get started. The title of today's video is How to Determine Minimum Safe Maneuvering Speed in the Pattern. What inspired me to make today's video is that I was watching the Lonco Lirio YouTube channel, and he had a guest by the name of Dan Grider. And Mr. Grider mentioned that just in the first 5 months of 2020, that 13 out of 56 fatal accidents in the U.S. were stall spin accidents because pilots were flying too slow in the traffic pattern. And as you know from ground school, that you stall an aircraft when you exceed the critical angle of attack. And on most general aviation aircraft, somewhere between 16 and 18 degrees. But we do not have angle of attack indicator. Well, most general aviation aircraft do not have angle of attack indicators on board. So we have to basically use our airspeed indicator as an indirect measurement of our stall speeds. Right? So, and Mr. Grider also came up with a formula basically. And he came up with a term. He called it the design minimum maneuvering speed, which is a speed. It's a minimum speed that if you fly this speed, and especially if you need to maneuver in the traffic pattern using normal maneuvering, you should be safe in the traffic pattern. And this formula is basically, you get your clean stall speed, which is the bottom of the white arc, and you increase it by 40%. Okay, and for example, the Cessna that I fly, on occasion, it's 172. The clean stall speed is more or less around 55 miles an hour. I multiply that times 1.40, which increases it by 40%, and I get 77 miles an hour. Okay. So I was very curious. I said, how come we use this to 40% increase, not 30? Why not 60? Why not 20? So I started looking around, and I found a chart. And I found this chart that measures bank angle in degrees. It also compares that to your how many G's or your load factor. Okay, but it also gives you what is the stall speed increase. So, for example, so let's see how we read this chart. For example, if I go down to bank angle in degrees, from left to right, I start at 0 degree bank angle. Right, 10, 20, I keep moving up, and when it gets to 60 degrees, okay. If I move up and I touch the first line, that means at a 60 degree bank angle, level flight, right? You're not changing altitude, you're maintaining altitude. If I go across the left, it's a 2G turn. Okay, that's my load factor, 2Gs. Okay, but if I keep going straight up, notice it hits the second line, which is a stall speed increase. My pen's not working, give it a second. Okay, wow, a stall speed increase, and if I move over to the left, it's 40%, just like Mr. Grider's formula. So I found that interesting. So I said, okay, at a 60 degree bank, that means my airplane, when I did the math, that stalls clean at 55, it stalls at around 77 miles an hour. That is my airspeed, miles per hour. I said, okay, this is interesting. Let me try some other angles. So I went to, let's try 45 degrees, common angle, 45, I went up to the first line, well, that's about 1.5 G's, I go a little higher, go to the second line, the stall speed increase, it's about a 20, I go to the left, it's about a 20% increase, so do the math. So I'll go for 55, which is my clean stall speed, 1G, right, times, now 1.20 for my 20% increase, and I get 66 miles an hour. All right, I got 66. Okay, I found that interesting. Okay, let me go a little higher. Let me go to 75 degrees. Okay, so I'm going to go 75 degree bank angle. My load factor is pretty high. Now I'm going to load factor of 4, even though 3.8 is basically the limit, because after 3.8 is where you get structural damage theoretically. But let's just do the 75 anyway. I probably wouldn't want to go more than 70 degree bank angle to maintain level flight. So, but let's go to 75. 75, I'm going to go up to the increase. Wow, this goes to around somewhere around 90, 95. So let's say 95. So I'm going to go ahead and use my calculator. I'm going to go to 55 times 1.95. I get roughly around 107. Wow, 107 miles an hour. Now, if you notice, and I believe that at gross weight, and the Cessna 172 that I fly, I think it's 112, the maximum maneuvering speed. Okay, they call VA. All right, so that makes sense. So now I don't want to be flying around the pattern to be safe, right? I'm not going to be flying around at 107 minimum speed around the whole pattern. I need to slow down, right? I need to slow down because I need to land at the slowest possible speed near the stall speed or at stall speed right when I land. Okay, so that's you're gonna be so scared that you want to be 107 the whole time in a small general aviation aircraft, like a Cessna 172 or a Piper Cherokee, etc. Okay, 66. If I don't exceed 45 degrees and maintaining level flight, 66. But that might be a little slow. And you know what? We need to maintain traffic separation as well in the pattern. So 77 looks like a good minimum speed. And it corresponds to the 60-degree bank at 2 Gs, which means at level flight. Okay. So let's see what that would look like on the runway. So let's say I want to land on the numbers here. And I'm flying in this direction. And in the Cessna that I fly, I'm downwind. I'm at about 100 miles an hour. And you can do the calculations miles per hour or knots. It doesn't matter. I remember my design minimum maneuvering speed is I calculated was 70, and I can round that to about 80. All right. So as long as I don't go right under 80, and remember this is a number that if you're going 60-degree bank turn, 60-degree bank turn, level flight. But when I hit the more of even the numbers, I'm going to put in flaps and I'm going to start dropping to 90. I'm still way above the 80 or 77 mile per hour DMMS. Okay. Also, because I started to put my flaps down, I have to have even more cushion because I'm even further away from the critical angle of attack. Okay. Now when I turn and I start turning base, maybe I'll drop to 80. Some people drop to 85. Let's say I drop to 80 myself. But it doesn't matter because even if I make a 60-degree bank, okay, and I'm close to that mark just a little bit, close to that stall speed, but I have my flaps down for a little bit lower, okay, my nose is pointing down, okay, I'm descending. So from here, I'll be in the numbers, I'm actually descending and I'm further away from the stall speed. So it is a safe speed. Okay, so maybe I'm going 75. I'm going 75. And remember, if I don't make a 30-degree level bank, because a 45-degree level bank in this area, which you shouldn't have to, I think my stall speed was about 65. I'm still good, okay, because you're not making any abrupt maneuvers here. My load factor is not increasing. So 77 or rounding it up to 80 is an excellent number. Okay, I'm at 80 when I make that base to final, and I start losing airspeed and descending. But right now, when I'm not turning much, so it doesn't really matter. So I think that's an excellent calculation using the DMMS that the gentleman came up with. Also, what I get from this, what conclusions I get, is that, sorry, I'm trying to fix my eraser here. That what's great about it is this is also, for example, in my case, the 77 miles per hour, I rounded it up a little bit to 80. 80 to 85 miles per hour is about the glide speed on the Cessna 172. And now I understand, and I didn't understand it before. A few years ago, I took what they call an emergency maneuvering course. It's to teach you what to do in an emergency, and you basically go in an aerobatic aircraft, and you practice engine outs, and you practice being a little bit more aggressive with the controls and how much you can bank, you know. And I did it with a man. His name is Jim Alsip, I believe, down in Indiantown here in Florida. And remember, we used to do a lot of engine out maneuvers in the air. How do we, if we had to turn around really quick, and we did it a bunch of different ways. But what's interesting, he would always tell me, okay, get your sight picture for best glide. Well, he was really also indirectly telling me, hey, that glide speed that you're using on this particular, I think it was a decathlon, is also going to work on a 60-degree bank. It's gonna be your best glide, but it's also going to be a good speed. It's probably a good minimum maneuvering speed. Okay, so let's say you took off and you're in the pattern. You're at 1,000 feet. This is something you need to practice up high. And let's say you're at 1,000 feet and you lose your engine. You know that above the DMMS, it will stall at 77 miles per hour, okay, at a 60-degree level turn. So if I take it up to 80, 85, I can bank aggressively 60 degrees and put my nose down. If you're putting your nose down, okay, you're further away from the stall and you may be able to make it back to the runway. So remember, these are things you practice with your flight instructor. But I believe that DMMS is an excellent speed to calculate, and everyone should do it for their aircraft. And I really want to thank the gentleman that was on the Blanco Lirio YouTube channel who came up with that formula. And thank you for watching. If you like my video, go ahead and press like. If you'd like to subscribe, go ahead and leave a comment. See how I can, what other topics you would like to learn, and how I can improve this channel. Thank you.